According to Realtor.com, the national median list price dipped from $445,000 in June to $439,950 in July. Meanwhile, interest rates are now the lowest they have been in the past 15 months. Nationally, the unemployment rate rose to 4.3%, and in the month of August, we have seen a year-over-year price decline in the Omaha market. Are we heading for a recession? What does that mean if you want to buy a home in the Omaha area? That's our topic in today's video, and we're going to get started right now. Sometimes what is bad news for one person is actually good news for someone else. For example, last week, news came out that the current U.S. unemployment rate rose to 4.3%. This is the highest it has been since October of 2021. Obviously, this is bad news if you're someone who has lost their job. However, if you're in the market to buy a home, if unemployment goes up, it might actually be good news if you're in the market to purchase a home. And why is that? Well, there's two reasons. Number one, more people who are out of a job means less people out buying homes, which is going to decrease demand. And number two, if the unemployment rate increases, it means the Federal Reserve has to stimulate the economy. Now, the Federal Reserve is going to stimulate the economy by making it easier to borrow money, and they're going to lower the Fed funds rate. The Federal Reserve does not lower mortgage interest rates. The Fed lowers the Fed funds rate. This is the rate banks charge to loan to one another. The Fed funds rate influences mortgage interest rates, but the Fed's fund rate does not directly related to mortgage interest rates. Now, last week, we had a weak jobs report. Now, the unemployment rate was higher than expected. What does that mean? Well, the Federal Reserve has two mandates. One, to maintain price stability, and two, maximum employment. Now, they're trying to balance two things. Price stability is low inflation. Inflation is what we've experienced in the past several years. Inflation is the general increase in prices and the loss of the purchasing power of the dollar. Inflation occurs when the government prints too much money. The Fed is trying to control inflation and maintain maximum employment. If unemployment spikes, the Fed will make it easier to borrow money in order to stimulate the economy. When the economy is stimulated, it means more people have jobs and thus a lower unemployment rate. Don't forget that there's a political component to this as well. Politicians want to get elected, and it's hard to get elected when you have high inflation or you're in a recession. The federal government is not like you and me. When we hit tough times, we have to cut back on our spending. The federal government doesn't operate that way. They can just print money and they just keep racking up debt. Now, as of the date of this video, we have over $35 trillion in debt. Now, nobody talks about it. Everybody just keeps kicking the can down the road. That being said, I wouldn't buy a house unless you can afford it. Sooner or later, at some point, this will have to be addressed. That is going to be painful, and you better have some money saved back. If you think the government's going to be coming to your rescue at that point, good luck with that. When there's a spike in unemployment, the market anticipates a rate cut by the Federal Reserve in order to maximize employment. Keep this in mind, I'm not an economist. Interest rates are tied to the 10-year Treasury yield. When the economy gets shaky, investors move from stocks to treasuries. When this happens, the demand for treasuries decreases and thus lowers rates. When the yield for the treasury drops, mortgage interest rates follow. The drop in interest rates means more buyers have more purchasing power. This means more buyers can enter the marketplace. Now, in the past several days, we've seen a substantial drop in mortgage interest rates. According to Mortgage News Daily, the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is now at 6.4%. Earlier this year, rates were over 7.5%. This is great news if you're a buyer. In Douglas and Sarpy County, in the month of July, we've actually seen a year-over-year decline. The median closed sales price for the month of July was $320,000, which is down 1% year over year. Now, that's not much, but it's in the right direction if you're a buyer. What about new versus existing? If you're looking at buying new construction, the median closed price for new construction was $423,695, which is down 6.1% compared to 2023. For existing homes, the median closed sales price for July was an even $300,000, which is flat compared year over year. What about inventory? More inventory means more choices. Inventory was up 18% in new construction and 59.9% for existing. More inventory is more good news if you're a buyer. What about months of supply? For new construction, there is 6.7 months of inventory. That means in new construction, there's a buyer's market. For existing, there's 1.5 months of inventory. That's a seller's market. So, this is good news if you own a home and you'd like to sell and then purchase a new home. If rates continue to go down, the golden handcuffs will come off and you'll see more sellers willing to sell and purchase a new home. This will mean the number of sales will increase. Now, what does this mean if you're a seller? It means we're no longer in the pandemic market where you have 10 offers and you're getting $50,000 over list price. Number one, you got to be priced right. And two, you're going to be facing more competition. That means staging and doing repairs. And number three is going to be compensation. Starting August 17th, new rules are going to be in play. When you're a seller, one of the ways you can make your home more competitive is to offer the buyer agent's broker compensation. If you offer compensation to a buyer's agent, this makes the home more attractive to a buyer because now the buyer does not have to pay their agent directly out of pocket. Because starting August 17th, two major changes will occur. Number one, compensation will be removed from the MLS. And two, buyers will have to enter into a buyer-broker agreement before touring a home. Let's take a moment and talk about inspections. And this is more good news if you're a buyer. You will no longer have to waive the home inspection. And remember, when you do inspections, that's plural. You're not limited to just a whole house inspection. You can do a sewer scope inspection, a radon test, foundation inspection, roof inspection, HVAC inspection, and any other inspection that you deem necessary. That also means buyers, after that inspection, can ask the seller to make repairs. And here's a quick tip if you're a seller. One thing you can do is to do a pre-listing inspection. This will enable you to make any repairs up front before your home goes on the market. If rates continue to go down, more buyers will come off the sideline and then prices might go back up. Truth is, nobody knows. How far will rates go down? If prices dip, how much will they go down? If there is a recession, how severe will it be? And remember, some markets are already seeing some declines. Notice I say decline, I didn't say a crash. Could there be markets that crash? Absolutely. Let's say a major employer decides to relocate. If you're in that kind of a market, then you could see prices really take a hit. Now, one of the nice things about the Omaha market is that we handle recessions quite well. Again, all real estate is local. Everyone is in a different situation, and you should only buy based on what is best for your situation and not what somebody says on YouTube.